the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. A pleasant morning to one and all, and welcome to our 5th annual Cooperative Education Internship Fair, which is being celebrated under the theme, Preparing Gen Z Leaders for Borderless Work. Permit me at this time to acknowledge some very special persons in our midst. And let me start by introducing our moderator, Mrs. Patricia Roberts-Brown, and she is a school coordinator for the School of Business Administration. The president of the Birthplace of Greatness. Let us hear it for Dr. Kevin Brown. Professor Haldane Johnson, Associate Vice President for Teaching and Learning. Mrs. Olubosola Akinladejo, Acting Dean of the College of Business and Management. And of course, she's representing our senior academic managers. And also, a very warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Mrs. Demia Cross, HR Manager for Sagicor Jamaica Limited. Our industry partners who are participating in this fair, in person or virtually. We have CMEX, Caribbean Cement Company, Real Decoy, Global Services, M&M Jamaica Limited, Sandals Resorts International, Playa Hotels and Resorts, PwC Jamaica, Pizza Please, KPMG CARICOM, Elmec Limited, Candy Craze, Palace Amusement Company Limited, VIP Attractions, Norbrook Car Rentals, Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited, Chilitos Jamaica Mexican Foods Limited, Headline Entertainment, Sportsmax Digicel, Real Estate and Mortgage Company. And of course, I must say, registration is still in progress, so there may be other companies who are joining us virtually on March 7. Finally, I would like to extend the heartiest of welcome to the university community, and of course, in particular, our students for whom this fair has been hosted. I pray that today will be a highly successful and mutually rewarding experience for all our stakeholders. Thank you for participating and be blessed. And at this time, allow me to hand over to our moderator who will take us through a very short program to get us out of here for 9:20.
Thank you, Mrs. Gordon-Brightson. Good morning again, everyone. It is indeed my pleasure to be here as your moderator today. I am looking, and as we go through this very short program, you notice I've been put on notice. It means that there's no time for little chit-chat, but I must start by saying that those of you who are in the room on time, you're looking quite well presentable in terms of your dapper, green shirt, blue shirt, tie, the jackets. Yes, that is how we want to see our students come out for interviews. Mrs. Gordon-Brightson has gone through the welcome. However, I must also say welcome to our president, our associate VP, Mrs. Akin, who is representing the senior staff, our co-op-ed educators, education representatives from the different faculties, who are also here and who made that effort to ensure that our students registered for the interviews this morning. Now, as the theme you heard speaks about preparing Gen Z leaders for borderless work. Now, many of us since 2020 have been put into this position where we had classes online, we had to get up, get dressed to be there in the classes, not only you as students, but also us as lecturers on this side. And similarly in the workplace, the remote working, meaning that you can be physically here in Jamaica, but working in any country. We have seen that just take on this growth since 2020. Now, this fair today, when you're doing your interviews, we don't know where you're going to be placed. It may be opening doors for you to work, this work experience that you're going to have here or in some other country. So make the most of this opportunity. Okay, students? And thank you, interviewers, employers, for joining us today. And at this time, I want to invite to do the prayer Mr. Zemario Pasco, who is one of our Co-operative ambassadors, student ambassadors.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We bow our heads in reverence. Almighty Father, as we come before you on this beautiful day, we thank you for bringing us here safely, and we thank you for what you have done. Lord, as we are here at this internship fair, we pray for new bonds and relationships. We pray for abundance in opportunities, and we also pray for the fostering of growth. Lord, as we are here collectively, I pray that your Spirit will be among us, and after this is all over, that you will be with us individually. And so, Lord, in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Pasco. Well, this person has a name that is a rather unique name. Dr. Kevin Brown. One morning my phone started to ring, telling me congratulations on behalf of my husband being the new president of the University of Technology, Jamaica. It so happens that my husband is also Dr. Kevin Brown. But it is not this Dr. Kevin Brown. So let us welcome our president to bring greetings this morning.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. And that is not my wife, right? I wasn't that lucky. So that's the challenge of having a very popular name. Anyone else knows a Kevin? And anyone knows a Brown? Right? So I just think it's one of the most popular names, not just in Jamaica, but having been around the world, I realized that Kevin in particular is very popular. It means handsome and kind, so I'm good. I'm good with it, right? It's from the Gaelic language, I'm told. So clearly, it comes through our history. So good morning, everyone. It's really good to, I think this is probably one of the earliest events I've had since I've been here. I don't know who to blame for that, but it is certainly a pleasure to be here, and I want to start by acknowledging the moderator, Mrs. Roberts Brown, and also the welcome and introduction that was done by our cooperative education coordinator, Mrs. Gordon Brightson. Morning also to our Associate Vice President, Professor Haldane Johnson, Mrs. Olubosola Akinladejo, our Acting Dean, College of Business and Management, our industrial partners and special invited guests, and also to our students. Good to see so many students here, and also those online. So it's really a pleasure to be here this morning to join you on the 5th staging of our annual Cooperative Education Fair. I want to start by commending the Office of Teaching and Learning for ensuring the continuity of this career and personal development opportunity for our second to final year students. Opportunities such as this internship fair provide students with an important added dimension to the hands-on practical experience for which UTech has a well-earned reputation. Cooperative education combining internships, work experience, practicums, and mentorship all support this structured approach that we practice right here at UTech. And it helps our graduates to make that seamless transition into the world of work. So I want to express immense gratitude to our industrial partners, some of whom are here today, who continue to help to facilitate these internship experience for all our students. I know that we're anticipating over 30 companies in today's event. So I want to take time to thank them and also to encourage you, the students, to interact with these employers. I'm told some of you will be interviewed. And as Mrs. Brown highlighted, some of you have certainly come here well-dressed. So that's a good start, right? Presentation is always important. And I'm sure you've also practiced for your interviews, right? So you're ready to go, ready to impress these industry partners. Over the years, we've had repeated excellent feedback. We've repeatedly received excellent feedback from employers who report that our graduates hit the ground running. Now, some of you might be saying, well, they are, UTech keeps saying that, but we actually did a market perception survey, and that is exactly what the employers said. So don't take my word for it. We actually did a study which was released last year, where employers say they like our graduates, they hit the ground running, they have a can-do spirit, they're very practical in their approach to work, right? And they have good work ethics. So I know that students here will continue that tradition, and I'm sure you will equally impress the partners that are gathered here today who you'll be speaking to. So we're really proud of this reputation. This is what distinguishes UTech from other institutions. Yes, we are technology focused, but we want our graduates to go out there and hit the road, hit the world of work, prepared and ready to go. Now, some of you know that I entered UTech some 26 years ago. So I was a student like you. I'm not sure if we called it cooperative education at the time. I'm looking at Professor Johnson. I don't think that name was there at the time. But I did an internship. My first internship was at the National Works Agency. It was my friend, myself and my friend Trevor Bennett, who is a lecturer here, but on study leave doing a PhD in the United States at the moment. And Trevor and I were sent down to the National Works Agency, and we were working with the engineers there. The National Works Agency tends to focus on civil engineering projects. And although the internship was very brief, it was my first taste of work. And I have to tell you, there is quite a transition to make from the classroom to the world of work. And for any engineers in the room, forgive my bias, a lot of you are learning the theory at the moment, whether it's mechanics, physics, and so on. But what we're really trying to instill in you is how to solve complex problems. And so when you go into the world of work, you may never use some of the formulas that you are now being taught. But the aim here, and I want you to really get this, because I know some of you might be saying, why am I being taught all this theory? The aim really is to train you to be able to solve problems logically, right, and in a sound fashion, because that's the aim of the game. When you go and do your internship for any company that selects you, they want you to solve their problems, keep their customers happy. They want you to be innovative, a quick thinker, right, a critical thinker as well, and they want you to be a leader. So all of these skills you're picking up as you go along, and it's not just about passing exams or learning the formulas, right? But I also did an internship in the UK because straight after graduating from UTech, I went overseas to further my studies. And I did 2 internships at Ford Motor Company's Technical and Research Center. And again, that was a wonderful experience working in the automotive industry for that time. Learned a lot, and again, it was all about applying that process of logical thinking, solving complex problems, right? So work experience is very important because it gives context to the academic experience you're having here. And this is why we also, as a university, continue to ensure that the curriculum is experiential, right? It's not just being taught the formulas, but we try to give you that hands-on experience as well. So I want to take the opportunity to thank all the organizations and companies who continue to accommodate our students, who offer them the mentorships and the professional growth and career development, which is so important. Many of these organizations are here today, and I look forward to some of you reporting that you have been successful in your interviews. There's a high demand for your skills. And the real challenge for Jamaica now is whether we can keep you here or if you will be pulled across the ocean to countries to the north of us or further afield. So whatever you decide, my encouragement to you is that when you go on your internship, please come back and finish your course. Because we know that some of you, you enjoy the world of work, and perhaps our employers are so impressed that they also offer you jobs. And I know that there are some programs where we just lose you along the way, right? You just don't come back. So please come and finish your course, right? I know as much as you may be enjoying the internship, it has an end date. You come back, you finish, and hopefully there's still a job for you at that said company that was interested. What we want to do in the future, of course, is to offer credential stacking. So if you do stop at some point in your course, you receive some sort of certification. But we're not quite there yet. So please come back and finish your course. All right, so I want to just end by wishing you all a good day, immersed in learning more about how you can mutually benefit from cooperative education programs here at the university. And I encourage you to take full advantage of everything that's happening today. And I want to end again by, can't thank them enough, expressing my appreciation to our industrial partners. We are really grateful for your support. This is a really important program for our students. So thanks again to the hotel and all our staff here at the university who make these excellent events happen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. So we invite our Associate Vice President, Professor Haldane Johnson, to bring his greetings, and he will be followed by Mrs. Akin.
Thank you. Mrs. Patricia Brown-Roberts, Roberts-Brown, giving her a new title. Moderator, Dr. Kevin Brown, President. Mrs. LaQuisha Gordon-Brightson, or PLA, University Co-op Ed Coordinator. And Mrs. Akin Aldejo, or Acting Dean. And our guest speaker, Mrs. Damia Cross, HR Manager at Sagicor Jamaica Limited, our industry partners, academic leaders, university officers, corporate coordinators, students, and student ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, and those joining us online, good morning. Today we celebrate the 5th Cooperative Education Fair, which is a testament to our commitment to nurturing work-ready leaders. Our cooperative education program is a strategic initiative that enhances our students' employability skills and employment prospects. And these align with our vision of being the premier university in the Caribbean for work-ready leaders. This program offers employers a glimpse of the capabilities of our soon-to-graduate students, providing them with valuable short-term assistance and the opportunity to secure the skill sets needed to thrive in a globally competitive environment. Today's fair focuses on Generation Z, or I say Gen Zers, preparing them as leaders for a borderless workplace. Our guest speaker, Mrs. Cross, will shed light on this theme, so listen carefully. Co-op education integrates classroom learning with relevant on-the-job experiences that matches the student's course of study and their career goals. Participating students gain real-world experience, career management insights, improved marketability, leadership development, professional networking opportunities, and enhanced soft and interpersonal skills. Our cooperative education unit ensures standardization of program policies and procedures across the university. It works with industry partners to secure placement opportunities for students across all disciplines and provides a supportive environment for student placement. We in the Office of Teaching and Learning proudly affirm that our cooperative education program remains a valid learning modality and in this corporate competitive world gives students the edge they need. In other words, Co-op Ed puts you ahead. Let's embrace this opportunity together. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Greetings. Dr. Kevin Brown, President, UTech. Professor Haldane Johnson, Associate Vice President, Teaching and Learning. Mrs. Patricia Roberts Brown, Moderator. Mrs. Lucretia Gordon Brightson, our Co-op Ed Coordinator. Mrs. Demir Cross, our special guest presenter. Our industry partners, our school Co-op Ed coordinators, our Co-op Ed student ambassadors, other members of staff present, students, good morning. It is with great pleasure that I bring you greetings on behalf of all the deans and senior staff of the university. The theme of this year's internship fair, preparing Gen Z leaders for borderless work, could not be more appropriate in our present circumstances. Now, despite the setbacks of the pandemic, we can all agree that a major positive of the pandemic is that it has opened virtual borders to training and employment. Who would have thought in not so long a distant past that it would have been possible for someone fully resident in Jamaica without leaving Jamaica to work full-time for an organization in the United States, Canada, Dubai, and the list goes on. I know young adults right here in Jamaica now who have resigned from lucrative jobs in Jamaica to work online in organizations abroad. They are well paid and are quite comfortable with what they do. The post-pandemic opportunity is what every individual should be positioned to embrace, even more so the Gen Z, you all in the room. Literature describes the Gen Z as adventurous, highly collaborative, and we see them in the classes because we teach them, right? Self-reliant, pragmatic, they are technology-driven, they follow their passion. And today's fair is part of UTEC's commitment to prepare work-ready graduates who would engage borderless work. The world is changing at a very fast pace. There's much to learn, and the entire world is now your domain. I would admonish you to embrace the opportunities as you set your own boundaries. I laud our industry partners who have stood with us and have accepted our students over the years, assisting us as a university to forge the gap between theory and practice. I applaud the efforts of our Co-op-Ed unit and our coordinators who have found innovative ways, even during the pandemic and after, to keep the program going. And I can only hope and pray that we have a productive fair today. Good morning.
Thank you, Prof. Johnson. Thank you, Mrs. Akin. And words of wisdom have been said by all three who brought greetings this morning to all of us, not just to the Gen Z, although when I heard Mrs. Akin say, we are all Gen Z in the room, I felt good, yes. However, some of those skills, especially the technological ones, still working on them, but we're happy that this opportunity indeed is here for all of us if we're willing to learn, and you're never too old to learn, so let us embrace what we have. And borderless is for everyone, no matter where you are. So at this time, I invite Mr. Rolando Smith, who is the Co-op-Ed coordinator for the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, to introduce our guest speaker, Mrs. Cross. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today we have the privilege of hearing from a true luminary in the field of education, in the field of training, and also in the field of leadership. She is the holder of an MSc, that's Master of Science in Human Resource Development, from the University of the West Indies, and she's an individual who has demonstrated a strong team ethos and the ability to galvanize individuals from diverse backgrounds and talents. Starting her career as an English language and literature educator at the Wolmer's Boys School, she would eventually become the head of the English department, where she supervised a team in developing and executing a curriculum that offered both scope and depth, yielding ultimately excellent results. After a few years in the classroom space, she would eventually transition to the corporate world, where she continues to be a beacon of inspiration, a leader who embodies the values of education, excellence, and empowerment. Her transition to corporate roles at Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited has afforded her the opportunity to excel as the current HR manager with responsibility for talent management as well as compliance. With over 15 years of professional experience, her exposure to education, recruitment, compliance, training, and talent management have not only contributed to her own accomplishments, but have also empowered countless others to identify, define, and own their career paths. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our distinguished guest speaker, a true game changer in the field of human resource management and development, Mrs. Damia Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's too early. We're a little cold, hungry, not breakfast yet. None of that. All right. We're here and we're going to get through. So I know I have just a few minutes. So the intention is to maximize that time as best as possible. So forgive me. All protocols observed. And we will be heading right into the presentation. I'm here with my team of persons who you'll be meeting throughout today, and they'll be assisting me, all right? So, some of what I will be sharing with you would have already been said. When I heard Dr. Brown, I was like, but he has my presentation. Right, Mr. Smith? Exactly. Now, what do? I pivot, and I'm going to present it in a different manner, in a different way for you today. All right, Shanita? I need those 2 mats. And I'm going to ask for some volunteers right now. So we have one here. And we have one here, yes. Volunteers? Just come, just come. I'll turn you back if it's enough. Just come. Come, come, come. Don't sit down. Come, I need you, I need you. Stand on the mat. Yes, the 2 feet. Come, come, more. Stand on the mat. Stand on the mat. Stand on the mat. Come. Anybody else? Volunteers? Calling all volunteers? Calling all volunteers? All right, that's it. Nobody else wants to come. Just making sure, because I'm closing off now. After 3. 1. All right, get one more. 2. Careful. All right, that's it. 3. All right, thank you. So you would have passed the first test as it relates to our theme, borderless. And that's going to be our focus, all right? So you stepped across your border of your chair and your cubicle. You stepped across the fear of coming up here and being ridiculous and making a fool of yourself because you're not sure what Mrs. Cross is going to do. You have stepped across that border, right? So you have passed the first test. Now, this is what I want you to do. Stand on the mat for me, all of you. Yeah, man. Stand on it. All right. So seeing that we have so few, this is what I'm going to do. You 3, stand on that mat. Yes. No. Stand. 2 feet. Stand on the mat. I don't want to see any heel hanging over. A little more. Good. All right. So this is what I want you to do. So I have 2 minutes. Somebody please time me. Please, 2 minutes starting now. Your task now is to turn over the mat without coming off the mat. So your task is to flip the mat while standing on it. You're not gonna come off the mat. All right? No. You're not coming off the mat, but you're turning over the mat. That's your task. 2 minutes. We're timing. Please observe. Please pay attention to what is happening. 1 minute. Ten seconds. All right, that's it. Time is up, time is up, time is up, time is up. All right, give them a round of applause. All right. Any two of you, did I ask you to do something impossible? How you felt?
I mean, for a second it felt impossible, but then when we got a bit of progress. So.
Progress, okay. It felt impossible. Like, I saw the expression on your face. You're like, what?
Yeah, like it never seemed possible for yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But even while I was doing it, I was thinking, is this possible to continue?
Right. Okay. One more. Anybody felt uncomfortable? At one point, he had his hand under your arm.
I felt teamwork, like we were trying to accomplish something.
Okay. All right. Now, that young lady who is waving her hand, Shanita, you're going to ensure that she has your names because you're going to get preferential treatment for today. All right? So thank you for participating in this. You may have a seat. So it's not, yes? Oh, you can fold them and put them on the side. So it was not an impossible task. This activity would have been done elsewhere, and they managed to get the mat turned over. But it requires a lot, right, from you, from each participant. No, not right now, throughout the course of today. You'll be here, right? Because I want you to get what is. I'm just pointing you to the person you need to ensure gets your information, all right? Now, preparing Gen Z leaders for borderless work. What does that require? Now, you are hearing things that you're familiar with. You know, you have been hearing, you're editing the books, you get it in your classrooms, all of that. But what does it really mean? A lot of times we go to sessions, talk to us, we hear a speaker, we leave with, oh, that was a good talk, and that's it, don't it? Or, man, that message was solid. But it doesn't translate into anything more or anything further. Or it's a thought that it's there at the back of your mind and one day you're going to get to it, but nothing happens, right? Well, first of all, you're on this journey. You're in your second or third year? Right. Oh, okay, right. So you are already on the journey, so congratulations on that. Some would have fallen off for different reasons, but you're here and you're heading to the next step, right? You're going all the way, right? Good. All right, so I want us to just shift our perspective a little. I know Gen Zs get a bashing sometimes about this generation all up in themselves and it's just about me and, right? You get a bashing for that. But sometimes that's necessary. I want you to shift your perspective a little though and expand, because if it's borderless, it means that we're not confined by any measure to some extent. But if it's borderless, here is how I want you to picture it. So here we have this image. You're not sure what it is yet. And you might be hearing in whatever you're studying, you want to do this for now, but you're not 100% sold that this is it for me, but you're still pressing through, right? That's good. Nothing is wrong with being at that stage. The next picture will show you the enlarged version of what you just saw is now no longer enlarged. What is it? It's on the rooster's head, right? All right? Now, the rooster was the only thing in the picture, but now the rooster is not the only thing in the picture. It's moving, it's changing. And you're saying the viewer is looking at it from which angle? All right? So it's not about the rooster alone anymore. Then you move from the centerpiece is no longer the rooster. Well, maybe, but he's now being watched. All right? And then you realize that this picture is actually a part of a bigger picture. Continue, and we're going to slide through. One observation, anybody? Just from the pictures and it's moving through, one observation, yes. Right. Seems so small, yes. And these are my math people talking, because guess what? They would have already broken the barrier. You see that? So it makes it easier for them now to share in the conversation. Go ahead. Right. The angle you're looking at it from. Good. One more. Oh, I see 3 hands. Ah, I'm excited. That's the teacher in me, sorry. Yes. Right, right. And you have to be able to see that now. You're seeing it from now. You're not there yet, but you're seeing it from now. Because that's going to inform the decisions you make, and you're going to put in the work to get to that. So you have to see that from now. Excellent. Yes. Right. Always. Life. So don't limit yourself to just right here and feel like you're locked in this space, right? Right. Right, and everything connects. All right, and your contribution to that, you need to treat that as value. Sometimes, and Gen Zers too, I have to deal with them. I have 2 of them in my home. So they think that, why is this necessary, or what's the big deal, and this task is beneath me or below me, and not seeing the value in what you do now, not seeing the value in what you do now and how it will impact for later. And not just for later too, it impacts now too, because it helps with the discipline that you need to cement, all right? Now, so going back to adopting the big picture mentality. So I think we just landed that. You got that message, right? We captured that. Good. So we're moving right along. So the next thing now is what Dr. Brown would have mentioned earlier. So he mentioned that in the workplace, we want persons who can think critically, who can be able to solve problems, who are analytical, right? Now, skills that cannot be automated. So we worry a lot about, well, maybe not you,
But persons worry a lot about technology and it's taking over and being able to fit in, or how do I use it to my benefit, and you're learning how to partner with the technology to enhance what you're doing, right? And to move things further. What you want to do now is to develop skills that cannot be automated. And you're saying what those are. You don't have to worry about technology replacing you. We are working along with it. It will never outsmart you. Never. It cannot. It's man-made, and you were divinely created. Amen, somebody? Amen. So it cannot outsmart you. Now, you're supposed to collaborate, work with it to enhance what you are thinking. Now, skills that cannot be automated. Those are the skills you're working on developing now as you learn, as you get your experiences, as you grow, as you move. Dr. Brown said some of them before, but I want to mention 5 of them. So your problem-solving, critical thinking skill cannot be automated. And that's what you want to develop now. The corporate environment, any workspace, as a matter of fact, you will have to use those skills in every situation. So you're not going to apply the formula that you're learning now in every situation, but having gone through those, it should push you now to ask, but what if? Or how come? Or why not? So it's forcing you to think beyond. So your problem-solving skill, you want to ensure that the tasks that you're doing now, don't take them lightly, don't treat them lightly. You want to ensure that you are giving it your best shot. Don't give up too easily. So the math situations, I was listening, and 2 persons took charge right away. They were like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Let's started to rally the troop to say, this is the direction. Let's try this, all right? Fair enough, they didn't get enough time to try another idea, don't it? And they didn't get enough space, but that's the space they had to work with. Well, let's say they didn't get enough time to fulfill. Good? But they, right there, were willing to try something. So let's see how it worked out. Now, when I saw this manifested in another setting, some persons even lift up persons. Some persons went on some person's back. Some persons stooped. Some persons did everything because there was a prize attached to. Some persons did everything to ensure that what? It worked. The question is whether or not you are ready to do that. And that's why I asked the question, if any of you were uncomfortable. Any of you who did not come felt uncomfortable coming up? Can you put up your hand now? Nice, thank you for that. Right, you felt uncomfortable coming up, right? So working in the borderless space will require you to step outside of you, because Jamaica is no longer your only competition. Good? And as was mentioned earlier, you're right here and earning US dollars, right? You're right here and earning euros. So you want to put yourself in that position. But every work environment requires certain basic skills. So we mentioned problem solving. Analytical is different from problem solving. Analytical now, you're able to pull all the moving parts together. See how one thing impacts another, right? And you want to bring that to your very group task that you're doing. If you can't apply that to your group work now, you're not going to be able to bring it to the work environment. So when you come into the space, the corporate space, we say, here are some things we have been struggling with this for some time, just haven't had anybody to dedicate the time to it. Here, it's over to you. We're not going to say step 1, step 2, step 3. No. Share with you what we want to be accomplished and leave it up to you to figure it out. So it's now you to say, this is what I'm thinking, these are the proposals. So if you have not yet developed your analytical skills, what are you going to bring to the table? Get it? So what you're doing now, you're preparing yourself to take on the more and the bigger picture. All right, so that's 2. The third one, no, we're still on this. The third one, 5 skills that cannot be automated. The third one is you must be able to show empathy. Now, this technological era, people have gotten cold and detached and it's just about the result, and you move on. But these are universal languages. Anywhere you go in the world, these things will be required. So if you're unable to connect with people, then you're going to be in big trouble. So don't just brush off, oh, I'm all about my grades, and you move on. You can't help out somebody. Or somebody's having a bad day, so they don't give you the service that they usually give. Don't be hard. I mean, be considerate, right? Somebody's having a challenge. So those skills that we take for granted, they are very necessary. Because when you come into the workspace and the report is late and the person is afraid to tell you, what are you going to do? Beat down on their heads? So we apply the principles from now so that we are able to translate them in the space when we get there. Now, the fourth skill that you want to develop that cannot be automated is your client experience and engagement ability. When people see you, what do they see? A sour face? Miserable and grumpy? What is the brand that you're representing? What's your brand? Right? So if I had the time and I were to say to all of you in here what I'm seeing when I see you, some of you are going to be shocked, not realizing that's what you're projecting. Good? So what are you emanating? Right? When you say you're going to do something, do you do it? You show up? You deliver? Are you able to engage? So you're talking to me, but you don't really want to be talking to me. You have experienced it all. You go in the store and the girl don't want to give you any attention. You're a bother, and it's coming off. And you're annoyed, don't it? And saying, but me I spend my money. Why this girl I give me attitude? Don't it? No, this is what you want to ensure that you don't give off. Your client experience. Now, and you have experienced the other side where, man, that young lady at the front, she was just so awesome. Although I didn't get what I wanted, I left feeling good nonetheless, and she promised that she's going to get back to me, and I believed her, don't it? Because of the experience that you had. So you want to ensure that you are thinking analytically, thinking critically, you're showing empathy, you're engaging with persons one-to-one as human beings, giving that example. How many we have so far? That's 5? Or I'm missing one? 4. All right, what's the 4th one? What's the 5th one? Dr. Brown mentioned it. Yes. You're saying it? No? Take, I guess? Leadership. How do we show that? Well, yes-ish. Yes-ish. Give me another word. One more. All right. So the 5th one is you have to be able to show initiative. Demonstrate initiative. You have to do that. Don't wait. So, and I'm using in my home again, so the dishes are in the sink and you'd wait on mommy to tell you to do it. Oh, but mommy, you know I will help you, but you didn't ask. And I'm like, but I don't have to ask you to wash up the dishes. We're sharing the same space and you know that it's to be done, right? So initiative, we have to get to a space where you're not waiting until you're told to do something. So because you're already analytical and you're thinking of certain problems and you're thinking of the big picture and you're looking beyond, when you see X right here, X should trigger something that wants to pull you to do something. So use your initiative. Nobody said it to you. It never came up. Nobody mentioned it. But because of how you're thinking and what you want, then you're going to push, right? And that's how the leadership is going to come out. That's how you're going to be seen. I have stories of persons who would have transitioned to different positions because of the initiative that they took. So they have their work time 8 to 4, but they want to learn something. They want to get in another area. You know what they do? Every time after work, they go and sit in that area or help out or just to be there. And before you know it, somebody's like, you're always here. You want to help with that? You're always there. You want to do that? And they get in. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everybody. But when you demonstrate that you're able to take on more, then you will get more. That's really it. Because you know they say the value of hard work is what? More work. And the last thing now is to show up. And not show up later, but show up now. What does it mean? What does that look like? That translates into what? You have to show up now. You have to be early. You have to be, I didn't say on time, I said early. You have to be early. You have to represent now. You have to do the work. You have to take it on. Because if you don't do this now, how am I going to know that you can do that later? So I'm going to be asking some of you, what clubs and initiatives and projects, what clubs are involved in, what projects you have taken on, what initiative you have spearheaded. And you're rolling your eyes and say, I'm bogged down with work I can't take on. But how do I know that you're capable to take on if you have not taken on? You get it? So we're not looking for your experience because you don't have it yet. But what did you do with the time that you had? What did you do with it? That's what we assess. So when you enter the workspace formally, that's what we assess. How well you would have used the time that you had to build you, enhance you, to share with others, to give back. How well you use your time. You just came to classes, did your homework, got straight A's and went home? So you have to demonstrate that you can handle more from now, because more won't be given to you if you don't take on more now. So the projects are important, the community service, the volunteerism, all of those things. And you mention that on your resume. And I'll say to you, yes, I'm looking for somebody who's a leader who can take on. And you say, well, I remember one time there was an initiative that I spearheaded by helping so and so here and there. No money was attached to it, but this is what I learned from the experience. Right away, you're telling me that you're able to take on more and you can handle. All right? So show up now. Show up now. Don't wait until later. Don't put off what you need to do for yourself and say when the time comes. Do it now. All right? Make use of all the opportunities that you're getting. This is one of them. We've been here and other industry partners. They are here to help you. And you're here, so you have already showed up, because I'm seeing a number of empty chairs. But you're here and you have already showed up, right? So continue to show up. All right? So I have time for 2 questions, and then that's it. Or comments. Yes. My math crew again. Yes. You see what that did? As simple as it is? Yes.
I have a personal question for you. Why did you switch from being a teacher?
To be honest, I don't think I switched. Right? So I have switched, but formally switched. All right. So why? So I thought I wanted more. I wanted to experience more. I started working as a teacher very early, straight out of university. Wasn't even trained, right? Oh, and the principal of Woolman's at the time, Mr. Dave Mary, said he liked what he saw in terms of my involvement in church and community. No teaching experience, nothing reteaching, but he liked what he saw and he decided to give me a try, and 13 years later, I was still there. Right? I wanted more to say what was on the other side. And the transition vindicated what I would have been telling my students all along. Right? The transition vindicated that, meaning what I shared with them when I went on the other side, I was like, it is for real. It is for real. So I wanted more, and that's why I prepared myself. So I did teaching, didn't have a teacher training. I did that. I decided I want to do more. I did my master's in HR and then transitioned, I think, 2 years after. So preparing yourself for the big picture, for what you want, that's important, yes. So this is the final question, right, in terms of time.
Okay, morning everyone. Miss, you mentioned about what potential employers are looking for.
Right.
How well you have used your time, given we lack experience. but notwithstanding in the job advertisement, there are always requirements for a certain amount of years of experience, which we really don't have or have any control of. It can be very daunting, miss.
Right.
Yes.
It can be daunting. So you're not going to apply for a job that requires 10 years experience, 5 years experience, but how else can you get in? So don't be daunted by, remember now is not the end result. You're seeing the end, but you're not there. You have to take steps to get there. So this job requires you to have 5 years experience. Do you have that? No. What can I do to cut off 2, 3 years of those experiences? What can I do? How can I position myself? What can I be engaged in? You can volunteer your time at this very company that wants this number of experience. Can I get in another way? So these are the things that you have to think about. So don't be daunted by what you don't have. Look at what you have and what you're gaining until you get to that stage. All right? So I think that's it. Thank you very much for being a trooper and my mat crew. We will talk after. All righty?
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. I invite Samantha Bailey to come forward. Mrs. Cross? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are winding down. We know that you're all looking forward to the interviews, and we just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone present in this room, our president and our associate vice president and Mrs. Akin and our partners, industry partners, and you participating students, those who are online, our ODL staff, everyone. We thank you for staying with us, and Mrs. Cross in particular. I mean, you aroused our curiosity at first with those 2 mats, trying to figure out what is going to be done. But we have seen where your presentation has opened all our eyes as to what can happen with respect to remote work and borderless work in particular. And as students, as you have heard, it's not just the critical thinking skills, but also the soft skills. Being able to empathize is important in any situation, wherever you're working. So the interviewers are waiting, and I cannot leave this room without thanking our University Co-operative Coordinator, Mrs. Gordon-Bridson, and Ms. Junior and the team for putting on this 5th annual fair. And do you realize, although they're not in the room, we actually have approximately 225 students registered for interviews. Isn't that great? Yes, yes. Please spread the word, students. Look out, we have been sending out information about internships. We have been sending out information to ensure that you get this work experience. You have heard what Dr. Brown said about his experience. And it is something that goes with you when you transition from this place into the workplace, and when you look at your resume to know that you can have something else added to it. And maybe the same job that you went to do the internship with is what will become your permanent place of work. So go out there, do your best, and as Prof says, Prof, you may have to brand this, Co-operative puts you ahead. Have a good day, everyone. So, just one thing for the students. Those of you who are not yet scheduled for your interviews, remember to be at that location at least 15 minutes ahead of time, just in case you are called early. As Mrs. Cross said, show up now and early.